Welcome to Healings and Meditations with Frank Jordan and the Earth Mind Think Tank Group. We welcome all listeners and chatters. Any questions can be called in to 1-775-657-5973. 1-775-657-5973. If you're in the chat room on Wolf Spirit Radio, which is wolfspiritradio.com/wolfchat, please post questions in uppercase letters, in capital letters. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Well, this is Frank Jordan and Earth Mind Think Tank Group coming to you through the auspices of Wolf Spirit Radio and Dave Corso. And it's beautiful northwest weather up here at the time. The rains are light spring rains coming through very regularly, and it's wonderful for the country. Everything's growing bountifully, and it looks like a good year coming for us. And the southern side, it's pretty bare and hot, getting hotter down there. And I don't see any weather patterns moving in so that we can wring anything out of for a while. But we'll keep putting our intent on bringing more rain through your country too. An interesting look at the astrological side is that there is only one exact influence on us today. Mike, can you look at that? It's the sun. I think that's a conjunct with Saturn, if I read that right.
I shall have to take a look.
But if you're feeling kind of empty and kind of all over out there, it's because there's nothing really influencing you from the outside. There was a discussion a little earlier in the group of people who have been learning how to detect subtle energies that are coming in and attacking us directly. Not just necessarily attacking, although it can feel like an attack. It's just those essences, those energies are there, and you haven't dealt with them yet. Particularly things that might be affecting your sinuses. You might allow that's in the springtime, many kinds of pollens and things that's affecting asthma or hay fever, things like that. But look more deeply in what's allowing that to be sensitive sometimes is deep patterns that are coming in through the soul center from past lives. Anytime I see a lot of sinus activity in a person, I look behind that because that's in the area of the enters directly into the soul center, and it could be karma coming through from past lives in your soul flow. And so you do well to go back and do your clearing work on that. Any influences, and I know it's hard for you to pick these things up because you're so accustomed to them, but sometimes a psychic who hasn't been exposed to that kind of thing can pick right up on them. I know usually I have no problem, and others that you might associate with can too. So learn how to read whatever's affecting your body, not as something that's chemical or an allergenic within yourself, but something that could be coming in through a vibraport that is causing the disruption that results in the allergies or whatever might be happening.
Hey Frank, I just took a quick look at the Geo Astro wheel, and actually what we have today, we have Sun in opposition, 180 degrees opposite Saturn, which is retrograde. We actually have retrograde Saturn, retrograde Mars, retrograde Pluto. And Mars is in opposition to nearly conjunct Venus and Uranus. There's a lot of Neptunian energy today, which is kind of delusion, deception, unreality. Those are the influences.
In other words, it feels like we're kind of static and hung and can't move forward.
Yeah.
That's the feeling. Mm-hmm.
And Mercury is also square Neptune, so there's heavy Neptunian influence, heavy Mercury, which is communication involved, and two oppositions: Sun energy opposite kind of a malefic Saturn. So all those things are in play.
Saturn would be bringing things up from the past. That's for certain. So that would give us this feeling of memories coming up in us, realizations of things unsettled in our past that we haven't brought to completion. And a good way of doing this, since the subconscious is so literal, is that when something comes up that are distributed from the past that haven't been brought to completion or handled in a manner that balances the energies out, you do well to go back in that time frame and imagine working the problem on through to a solution and releasing it. And then the subconscious releases that portal, or it closes that portal, and the pressure, the sensation, the memory, the impetus to do something goes away. So this is learning how to master your reality instead of being subjective to it. And these astrological influences are so critical because at times like this, when we're in a lot of retrograde activity, this is definitely holds us in form. Nothing's moving forward. We can even be moving backward. And if you look at the world out there, that's just exactly what's going on out in the world too. I know the world currency reset is just been held in static here for some time, and there's no indication that anything's moving forward. There's hope that it will in the next few days, but nothing really very positive indicates it's happening. An interesting aspect of that is all of this is world changing what's happening right now. There's never a word of it in the news anywhere. They constantly keep us distracted with downed airplanes and abducted girls in Africa and things like that. But if you just ignore that stuff because it's just to entertain you and distract you, go to the web and begin to follow up on subjects that are of interest to you, you want to know about. It's becoming the real news information source now. And anything that's active or going on, you can find it there on the web. And it's the one hope we have of being able to manage our reality instead of being totally subjective to the news media and to the powers that want to control every aspect of our lives. They've certainly controlled that one pretty effectively. And if they start shutting down on the web information, it's going to be extremely difficult to have an effect in the world. If that happens, then the only way we can have an effect is the way we're doing it, is working through the subtle energy fields directly into human consciousness to stimulate activity and thought and feelings of freedom and abundance, rather than being subjective and experiencing lack of freedom and lack of abundance. Well, there's not many, or not any, suggestions of what we can address today in our meditation. So let's go into it and see what Spirit has to bring through today. I never know what to expect, and sometimes we really get some wonderful things come through and can be highly effective out there in the world. So let's just drop right into meditation now and open up, get totally comfortable, legs separated, hands separated. Take your awareness up into your foreheads. And just take time to settle in there and feel this moment of now. This moment now is a product of choices you've made in the past and of astrological influences and standing waves of reality of all the forms. And although it may feel kind of open and empty, there's an incredible amount of things going on at this time. And so here's where we formulate our intent, is by stepping on back into the soul center and unifying with the rest of human consciousness. Just reach out laterally and touch all human souls, and feel and understand the commonality of being one indwelling soul from various soul families, soul streams that are here to experience different aspects of being human. And just take a moment and look at your own human aspect, what you're doing in life, what got you to this point. And this is where you can retrospectively look at your soul flow, your life experiences, and feel whether you're satisfied in what you've accomplished and where you've been led and directed by your indwelling soul, or if you've ignored the soul flow and reacted instead to the more overt activities around you that can make us think we're participating in life when really we're being driven by it. So with this thought in mind, just kind of look at how you've organized and brought yourself to this point in life and ask the question, is it going well for you? Are you satisfied with what you've done? Do you feel like there's more? What have you missed in life? And where is life taking you? Are you being subjective and driven by the past or by the lateral activities of those around you? Or are you the chooser? Are you the manifester and the creator? And when you make that switch of being driven to being the driver, a wonderful thing occurs. You come into charge of manifesting your life rather than being subjective to it. So take this moment now in your soul center and get the determination to understand what it is that your soul came in to accomplish in this lifetime. And in this particular group and those of the associated listeners who listen to us to learn and grow and evolve, come to the realization that you are all part of a greater whole. This greater whole is helping to evolve, raise the consciousness of Earth, and to create a new reality, a new dimension of consciousness here on Earth. This new reality, this new age, not age, I don't like to use that term because that's what the opposition force uses, is the new age thing. And we've gone beyond that. We've evolved into being co-creators with the new reality that we're experiencing. And so it helps to take time to take stock of who you are, where you are, what's happening around you, and not being caught up in the news media and the illusion they create for us, but look deeper into what's really happening and become the co-creator in manifestation of our future Earth reality. And it's happening now. We're moving into the new age of the fourth dimension. It's all around us. As each individual makes a change or makes a choice, that resonates with all other individuals, and it becomes a movement, a force. And that force and movement is changing the world as we speak. And we can look into the future, and we always look to the future to see what is desirable that we can select in the future, that's desirable to experience not only by ourselves, but for all others in our joint reality. Now take a step back deeper into the psychic center. And this is where you have the opportunity to work directly with human consciousness of those you know, to help uplift your friends and your relatives. This is where you have direct communion with people that you bring into your mind. As soon as you bring someone into your frontal lobes of your brain, that resonance through the will of the indwelling soul resonates back into the psychic center. And this is how we move into that point of personal power where we can influence others. And you do it simply by willing the best for others, for upholding others in their thoughts, their choices, and their solutions. And to do it with unconditional love. This is where we can directly apply unconditional love. As we do that, we're giving energy, power, vitality to others. And this is what we do in our healing work more directly. Every time we do a healing on someone, either directly or through the Wolf Spirit Radio, this is actually a spiritual experience. Every healing is a spiritual experience that brings people into greater awareness that they are spiritual beings and they do have power and abilities, that we can use our minds to do incredible things. And as we communicate directly with others in our interpersonal relationships, this is a good opportunity to communicate exactly the same thing. Unconditional love and empowerment to others, stimulating others to think and recognize that you are there for them, that you have turned away from the domination world of greed and control, domination, to this outer world of empowerment where the energy flows through and out to encourage and uplift others. So everyone you communicate with, either directly or through the subtle energy fields, we can inspire to move into higher frequencies of consciousness, and it can only be accomplished through the choices they make. Every time you make a right choice, a choice in dominion, you raise the frequency range, and you rob the low self of the opportunity to make those choices for you and for others. Remember, it's where we have our point of attention that manifests the reality around us. So when we're being driven by low self and the ideals, the old demands of the past for survival, and earth mind, and the things that are patterned into earth mind for instinctive consciousness, the instinct is shifting now from domination, from survival, is shifting to, because of our influence through the high self, and patterning earth mind into the instinctive consciousness and resonance of the fullness of life and potential and the unified abilities we have to manifest a new reality. So where you hold your point of attention affects everything. So keep your point of attention in your high self, above the heart, using the heart center to resonate through the 0 point. Unconditional love, beneficial support, and freedom to all beings in all ways. Now take a step back deeper. Just move back deeper into yourself, into your inner being. And here's when you feel that expanding sensation and your breathing slows down, it means you've moved out of the frontal lobes of the conscious reality back into the subconscious reality, the subtle energy field that literally holds the functionality of everything in the conscious realm. It all originates from and is held in form by the subconscious and the unconscious. The unconscious being that literally fills our reality, that we don't directly affect, or, well, we do affect it, but we don't directly respond to it unless we choose to, by opening a vibe port into the unconscious. But feel this expanded state of being now and drop your awareness down the spine, just like opening a trap door in the base of your brain. And this is how your internal information also access the hard disk of your biocomputer. Just drop down to the heart center, the 0 point, where everything that is expressed through our extended systems is responded to by the indwelling spirit. It manifests and holds the form of everything in our reality, the substance of our being. Even our thoughts arise from the 0 point. And that's the portal from the subtle energy field that supports everything. All consciousness, the God force consciousness that directs energy in all relations, in all activities. And that is really the basis of the evolution of consciousness and evolution of everything in existence. Now drop your awareness on down into the low self, below the heart center. And as you pass through the solar plexus, take note of the tension and pressures that are there, because it's the level that deals with our everyday reality out here. The solar plexus is the high self of the low self. It's the higher frequency ranges, the more intelligent levels. So it's the one that has to deal with everyday reality, and it feels all the problems that require solutions, and it holds those problems until your high self comes up with solutions. And once the solution is achieved, the low self releases it. And that's what causes stress, is unresolved situations. So anytime you feel pressures or tenseness in your solar plexus region, it's because you have unresolved situations. So either focus on and bring whatever the situation is to a full reality and completion, or imagine bringing it to completion and releasing it. No matter if it's a relationship stress or business stress or problems having to do with survival and maintenance of the body and your surroundings, this is where you work it out. And this is where, through the high self cooperating with low self, you bring things to bring solutions into the reality and release the stress of ongoing experientiality. Now drop on down a level deeper. And here you come into the range and realm of the so-called sex chakra, but it's much more than that. This is the area of the subconscious mind of your animal system, the low self, that maintains the physical body. It's the one, through the autonomous nervous system, literally has a brain of its own that monitors everything in your physical body and your reality around you through vibroports to make sure you're taking care of the physical body. And it's the one that prompts you to get food, shelter, get enough sleep, and so that the high self, the over self experientiality does not have to concern itself with these things. It may have to make the choices of how to accomplish it, but the low self is the one that prompts you to think of your needs and take care of them. It's also the level that's responsible for sexuality, and its need there is prompting sexuality, ongoing reproduction, because that's one of the big focuses of the low self, is producing other bodies, so that its indwelling low self, low soul consciousness, at death, it can have bodies to move into and again experience life through the low self soul experiences. And so it's well to monitor and take care of the low soul so that it's satisfied and know it's being nurtured and taken care of. Then the lower chakra down here is where we actually come into contact and resonance with the subtle energy system of our DNA. This is where we resonate with every cell in our body. This is the one that carries the instinctive consciousness that holds the form and functionality of our physical reality. And it's the one that resonates directly with Earth mind. And this is where instinctive consciousness arises to keep prompting us to, prompting the low self to prompt the high self to make choices that allow the experience to continue. So your low self, your root chakra is incredibly important because it's our primitive level of consciousness. And if it's carrying a lot of unresolved stress, a lot of fear, anxiety from past experiences, resonating from Earth mind, it's highly beneficial to clear those ancient, even the cellular consciousness of your ancestors and the family flows, I call them. Get those out of your system because that will release and lower your stress level considerably if you're not anxious because of past experiences and carrying fear, lack of abundance, things of that nature. And this is one way of controlling high blood pressure, because these are the type of things that reflect in your overall condition of self-awareness and self-reliability. Are you doing a good job to take care of your system? If you have high blood pressure or tendency to that, look to your low self, clear those anxieties, and your system will relax, and you'll flow more evenly. And then below that is Earth Mind. And Earth Mind is incredible, and it holds everything that ever happened in this lifetime of experience, or your genetic experiences that's carried forward through your family from past lives. And so this is where we learn to deal with our instinctive consciousness. And it's interesting to note that every place you've ever lived, it's like a node in the grid of consciousness of the unconscious, subconscious, low self mind. You have a node of your hard disk that remembers everything that ever happened to you there, and all the positive things as well as the negative. So it bears you well to go back in time to where you've lived in the past and clear the negativity from the region where you spent a lot of time or growing up as a child, clearing the stresses of your family and whatnot. Because these are all in constant resonance with this moment of now and can bring anxieties forward that cause a lot of problems in this reality if you don't master this reality. Now, also in Earth Mind, we're in direct contact with the subtle energy system of Gaia, Mother Earth itself, and the instinctive consciousness of Earth and the Devic forms that hold the physical reality of everything that we experience and express in. Therefore, we need to be aware of the things that affect us through Earth Mind. The instinctive stresses, like simply things like earthquakes building up. And the way to experience earthquakes is to feel in your root chakra. Take your awareness now to Southern California, and we'll work in the earthquake grid and gain some experience there. Go to Southern California. There's ongoing activity constantly in the earthquake grid. And just pick one locality where the stress is building up of a potential release as a minor earthquake. Now notice something. as you're feeling it in your root chakra, you're feeling it in the base of your brain, in the primitive brain, in the brain stem, and it's there, so the low self, the root chakra, can resonate potential dangers right directly into your brain, your operation system. And so you feel that stress. So when you feel that kind of stress building up the base of your brain, don't just think it's a headache, or check and feel if it's also resonating from the root chakra, and then go out and locate the source, whether it's a flood building up, an earthquake, a storm, an animal attack, or even an illness. Reach out and locate the source of it and release it. Clear that, whatever the stress is, with desire and will and intent to master your reality instead of being subjective to it. Do that now. Check yourself out. Stress energies are there just as signals to be used, not to be held on to, because stress, anxiety, fear, all those stress potentials affect our physical system if they build up into too large a volume. Now let's go ahead and work in the earthquake grid. Just extend yourself out through Southern California. Feel the energy now begin to flow, because you asked for it, from the earthquake. Stress is building up. Bring that up your spine, up through the 0 point, all the way out through the crown chakra, through oversoul, up into the ionosphere, where we've created a golden grid of energy to surround the earth, to protect earth. And we do have some solar winds coming at us now that may cause minor disturbances. They're simply solar winds. They don't carry the M charges that could be destructive, but they can disturb our atmosphere. So let's just pick those solar winds up and flow them right on around the earth and out the other side. And we allow that to continue as we again extend our awareness back into the Southern California and move up a little higher now to San Diego and along the San Andreas Fault, lifting those energies up, dispersing them in a shield around the earth. On up to San Francisco. There is an earthquake occurring at the moment at Cobb, north of San Francisco, and that's because of the hot water that's being drawn to generate power in that area around St. Helens. Lift that energy upward. Come on up to the Oregon line and move your awareness to the east of California, down the Sierra Nevada mountains, all the way back to the southern regions again, and lift that subduction zone energy upward. These are subduction energies. They feel different from what the lateral plate energies of the Pacific Plate moving along the coast in the San Andreas Fault line does. these are the ones we can turn into harmonious release. So they're releasing all the time. Now move your awareness eastward to the Rocky Mountains, running from Las Vegas all the way up to the Yellowstone, into the Canadian line. And as always, in West Yellowstone, there's minor activity going on. We want this minor activity to continue, releasing that stress, pulling the energy off of the cauldron. Take a moment to extend your awareness into the cauldron of the Yellowstone and construct gigantic plumes of energy, carrying that heat and pressure away so it doesn't build up into pressure and stress. Transmitting it into the golden grid. Now move back to the Pacific coast. In the northwest corner in Washington, there's a lot of minor activity there. Lift that upward. Now take your awareness northward to the Alaskan complex in the Gulf of Alaska, where the Pacific plate is thrusting under the island of Alaska, lifting it upward. A multitude of minor earthquakes. There's a 5.5 at Anchor Point. Lift that upward. Now move your awareness down along the Aleutian Trench. It's only minor activity there today. Move to the Kamchatka Trench, a 5.2 at the southern tip of Russia. And moving on southward on that trench into Japan. There's a 6.0 at Ito, below Tokyo. And this is a reoccurring one, so there's a major activity happening there. Lift that energy upward, clearing the stress that's causing the release of a mid-range. Now we use, as always, we take these Japanese energies as they build up into a gigantic whirlwind, a tornado whirling clockwise, lifting up the radioactivity released from the reactors, taking that up into the ionosphere to transmute into beneficial energy that we can distribute around the world. Then move southward to the Philippines. There's more activity now through Taiwan and on south into the Philippines. Low to mid-range 5-point adjustments. And down into the Indonesia Crescent, the subduction energy of the Java Trench subducting under the Indonesian ranges and islands. Lift that upward. These are 5.4s. And this is often the result of volcanic activity. Then move eastward into the ocean ranges, east of New Guinea, the Solomon Islands. There's some 5.1s there. and on through Vanuatu and to Tonga. A lot of island creating activity going on there. And southward to New Zealand, we can check that, but it feels pretty good at this time. Now we take our awareness eastward to South America. The main area of activity being between the Andes and the Peru-Chile Trench, subduction energy. Get that energy upward. Iquique, Chile, being a primal point of activity at this time. Now move northward to Central America. There's a 6.0 at Tecpan de Galena, Mexico. That's right on the coast. Subduction energy again, it could result in volcanic activity. Now eastward to Puerto Rico. Scattering of minor activity. Now move to the Mediterranean Sea. A volcanic activity at Kira, Greece, 4.3, and southern Cyprus at Tekrovia. Now eastward to southern Iran on into Pakistan, mid-range activity. And on eastward to the plateau of Tibet, Gayan Moteng, eastward to the Hawaiian Islands. There's ongoing activity at the volcano in the Big Island, and it's causing scattered activity in the smaller islands. Now back to the point of beginning in the United States and to Medford, Oklahoma. 3.9 there, fracking activity releasing. Then Clinton, Arkansas. Then on Caruthersville, Missouri, along the San Madrid Fault, releasing. I'll come back to our point of beginning. Bring your awareness back into yourself and back to the surface of the earth, out through the psychic center and the soul center to connect with all humans on earth now through your system. And we bring a flow of unconditional love through. When you ask for this, feel your hands heat up. And that is the manifesting love that comes through, holds all the frequencies of energies in it, and we direct this to those who are operating in the domination force to suspend or weaken the shift into higher consciousness, particularly through the financial system. We weaken the resolve of the domination force of the people and organizations, even up into our own governments and other governments that actively work with and for the cabal to limit growth and evolution of consciousness and freedom and vitality of and abundance through the financial system. We see that shifting and occurring now. We see Iraq, which is the linchpin to launch the global reset of the currency values. We see it bringing to completion its budget today, the budget being necessary and the revaluation being necessary to complete the budget, and that will trigger the revaluation around the world. See this happening now. Let this unconditional love energy, this power of the galactic force pour through us into that grid of consciousness, so people in charge, people who are in control, will make right choice in their conscious decisions for the benefit of all humanity. It's an absolute shift in consciousness and in the socialization of our civilizations occurring now. And as this gains amplitude, supplemented by our power and directed intent, more and more people are picking up the realization, it's becoming self-realization, that a change is occurring. The change is for the betterment of mankind, so that everyone's choices will be in dominion, releasing the need to control or have power or domination, so that all can benefit equally. Let the abundance packages open up, so that everyone can have abundance, releasing the treasure troves, the hoards that have been accumulated in the past, dominators, to be distributed as abundance through the civilization of the world. Freeing the creativity of mankind to use resources in abundance, not only for their own benefit, but for the benefit of everyone equally. We see this affecting the religious organizations that too would suppress consciousness. They come into the realization that change is occurring and change is good. To release the old forms and realities, stimulating new thoughts and consciousness to express new ideas, moving into the new world reality. Let your minds run ahead into the future now. We project our unified intent into the future to see abundance, to see a world where there are no armies because there are no borders, where there are no police because there is no crime, where hospitals and medical organizations are reduced down to serving those who have immediate need through accidents and things of that nature, but where universal health through healers will become the mode of healing, releasing the abundance that's now tied up in the medical system, and releasing the need to have big pharmaceutical companies dominating, and what is needed will be available without cost. We see the education system adapting to a new mode of consciousness behavior where dominion is instilled at an early age, and the principles of freedom and equality truly can exist. And where people are not trained simply to serve the masters, but to be self-productive and in whatever mode of life they choose to experience. And so it is. And feel dominion resonate through and around the world, through the golden grid, through the group mind consciousness, resonating into earth mind, so it becomes the instinctive consciousness of dominion, where man shall have dominion over the earth, all the creatures that walk, all the creatures that fly, all the creatures that swim, and all the crops and abundance of the plains. And that abundance shall be there for all equally. And so it is. Bring your awareness back into yourselves now, reflecting what you can do in your own circle of awareness to empower dominion throughout your day and throughout your life and your future life. A life in the fourth dimension where there does not need to be illness or death, but only happiness and joy and growth of consciousness. And so it is. Bring your awareness up your spine now, back out through the frontal lobes, back into this physical world. And we're back, Dave.
I see that.
Does anyone have any comments they'd like to make today, or any suggestions that would help?
Gee, everybody's so quiet.
Oh, they're way out there. They're still working. My hands are just radiating energy. That's how I know they're working, because we're just resonating this pool of energy into the consciousness of the world. How are you feeling, Dave? Are you better?
I'm feeling better, yeah, but it's still got a long way to go.
Well, in our group, let's direct energy to Dave then, to help his system stabilize. Just wrap him in this flow of unconditional love, desire for his health and vitality. Can you feel that, Dave?
Yeah, I can, actually.
Well, visualize yourself when you're the healthiest and most vital, like about, 20 years old before you got into the military, whenever that was.
I was in the military for almost 2 years when I was 20.
Wow. Well, you should have been in good condition, good health then.
I just like to be in the health I was when I was 45.
Okay, we'll take that. Feel it. Tell your DNA what it felt like. Let it remember. Pull it up from Earth Mind.
I'm going to work on that this afternoon because after the next show, I don't have anything to do till 9:30 tomorrow night.
All right.
I am going to go take a long, hot, soaking bath.
We'll be with you at 6 tomorrow night.
Yeah, but I'm not producing.
Oh, that's right.
JP's producing.
All right, this is just a reminder to everyone out there to support Dave through Wolf Spirit Radio. There's a button where you can support him directly through PayPal. And also, I think there's still a button there for Cytronics, too. And we can use all the help we can get financially to keep us in functionality and good health and business. So we appreciate your donations. You can go to my webpage, which is Cytronics.com, psi-tronics.com. It means mind power, Cytronics. My website is fljordan@cableone.net. Cable One is one word. Love to hear you. I had a wonderful session with a lady in Melbourne, Australia last night. Came to us through Wolf Spirit Radio. She's a healer. We're able to clear her some blocks, and she can change her life now by becoming a full-time healer and get out of that job that was stifling her. This is what we do for people. This is how we spread the word. Okay, Dave. Thank you so much for being.
We'll catch you folks later on.
Okay, Dave. Thanks.